Hello, hello. Welcome to Leap Taken. Here at Leap Taken, I talk about all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. This is my Cottage Witchery Book of Shadows. I'm going to be updating some pages for the upcoming holiday, the first harvest. If you just feel comfortable calling it that, otherwise, people refer to it as Lammas. Lammas. If you pronounce it differently, kudos to you. That's how I pronounce it. I am an American, and yeah, that's how I say it. I don't mean to be disrespectful. If you feel like I should be saying it differently, that's how I say it. I just want to explain in case someone says, you're pronounced. No, there's some things I understand. Like I think what is it, Samhain, and people say Sam Hain. Like that one kind of grates on you a little bit, so I'll give that one. But the other ones, leave us alone. So moving on, I am just going to put my labels down for the what we're celebrating. And I don't have a previous entry, so this is good. I was hoping I did good on the spacing. Maybe not as great. Might have to overlap that a little bit to put that S there, but that's okay. That's the thing when you have like your own book of shadows and things like that. It's okay if it gets a little, what's the right word? Wonky. Don't let that get to you. There's no such thing as perfection with this, and you shouldn't be trying to strive for perfection. I tell myself that all the time. And I'm going to refer to this as the first harvest because it is. So I have a lot going on with embellishments and things like this on this page. So I'm going to keep it pretty short. Let me show you some of the references I'm using to reference the holiday. So there's two books I like to kind of refer to. So the Everyday Witchcraft has a section here. Let me find that for you guys real quick, where she talks about this, and I like the way she discusses it and the ideas. I'm gonna have to go on a hunt. There we go. I knew I was like right there, yeah. So she says here, Lammas is the first of 3 pagan harvest festivals. You should be starting to see a harvest of your efforts too, and hopefully some of your goals have been achieved or you're getting closer. If not, this is the time to reassess again and maybe change course one last time. So actually, this entire verbiage is like really important to me. I think it's super important because that's how I look at it. You can look at it from an agricultural point of view, and I will be doing that when it's time for me to set up an altar and all of that. But this here, to me, takes it for the modern pagan. I love her, by the way, Deborah Blake, and her books that she writes, because it's so on point. But what she's basically saying is that, seeing the harvest of your efforts. I like that right there. The magical spells you've done, the manifesting work, the journals, the scripting, the vision board. Are you starting to see any of that actually, show up in reality and into your everyday life? Are you starting to see the changes that you wanted to put forth? Are you seeing consistency? If, let's say, you've already instituted change, is it consistent? Is it moving in the direction or at the frequency or pace that you were hoping for and manifesting for? So this is the time to take stock of that. And as she says, if not, this is the time to reassess and maybe change course one last time. This might be a time, hey, another vision board. Let's try scripting in a different way. Let's maybe look at some of the previous spell work and see if we can modify that and do it again with a little bit more detail, a different approach, possibly different supplies, different things that were necessary that went in, streamline it. Maybe you need to go more dramatic. This is the time to kind of do that. And that's how I look at this time. You know, let's take stock. So I'm actually going to take a lot of information from here and write it down because I love it so much, what she's basically saying. So I'm going to write that right here. It's going to write a little bit small, but you'll see. Okay, so I have pretty much that bit that I read about that I think really kind of stood out to me written down here. And then as far as like, well, what do you actually do? I think this is a book. This is like Grimoire for the Green Witch. I tend to come back to this for ideas, whether it's coven work or rituals for myself quite often. This book is like very valuable to me. It gives me a jumping off point a lot of times for things that I want to do. I don't, I've never followed anything out of here word for word, did every detail that they said. Just to be clear, I've never done that because it's just not my thing. This is definitely more Wiccan focused. So I don't, I'm not Wiccan. So some things I just wouldn't feel right, natural for me to be doing. But they do have activities for, it is Lunasat. So also Lammas, same thing. It's celebrated same day. It's celebrated on August 1st, by the way, if I didn't explain. So yeah, so some of the activities that they mention here are to collect rainwater. Yeah, collect rainwater in non-metallic container, add mugwort to empower objects. Now, it rained here for the past couple days, so I may get an opportunity to do that if it rains one more time. Make sand castles to honor the goddess and god of the sea. So if I had been still living in Florida, South Florida specifically, where I was living before I moved here to Arizona, this would have made more sense. But right now, we're going to move past that and give instructions. String colorful Indian corn on black thread for a necklace. Feed the birds at Yule. Okay. In theory, in practice, that would freak me out. So I'm not doing that with birds. Create and bury near house entry a small protective witch bottle full of broken and sharp pointy things in urine. Now that's up my alley. That makes sense for me. So I am going to change pens and I'm going to write down activities for llamas. Okay. And then, so I know, oh, and before I go into it, so I know crate and bury near house entry, a small protective witch's bottle. Make a corn dolly to save for next emball. Let's see what else they have on the next page. See how much I'm going to list here. Bake corn-shaped cornbread sticks. Do a harvest chant when serving cornbread at dinner. Make a solar wheel. Sprout wheat germ in terracotta saucer. Collect blackberries and make a fresh pie marked with solar cross. Have magical picnic with libations to the earth of bread and wine. Do you know which ones I'm going to list besides the one I gave away? Maybe I might surprise you with things I actually consider something I remember. This is for me. I'm just sharing with you, but these are things I actually would do or will do or have done. So let's get to the first thing I've already gave away, which is create protective witches bottle. And the next thing is the corn dolly. Make corn dolly. The other thing basically that I actually did like is make cornbread. I love cornbread. That's easy. The other thing is sprout wheat germ. and make blackberry pie. Now, I would love to say I can go pick those. I don't know if that's possible where I'm at, so I'll probably just have to just purchase them. But it's still, maybe the foraging part wouldn't, I'm missing out on that, but the actual making of the pie would just be fun as well. So we'll count that. And the other thing is have a magical picnic. Okay, so I have everything as far as on this side. I wrote it down. I wanted to add something else on here because when I made this, I always knew I would just add inserts occasionally and things like that. And I don't know if you can make it up, but these actually have words on it: grateful, kind, relaxed, love, honest, thankful, loved, peaceful, rested, authentic, enough. Um, yeah, I think giving, strong, blessed. So just some really, I just like the way this looked, the verbiage on here, and I wanted to include this in here, just this as a card um, to just have in here because I just like having that information. And then when I open it up, I can put, any details about the actual day in here. So it'll just go in here, and I'll close it. But I like just having this, so it'll just be like a card. I want to make sure I get that really folded that I could refer to. I even like that it kind of already has something right here. I was thinking about putting a string here. I may not. We'll see, because that might make it a little too bulky, but we'll see. But I just wanted to add just a couple different embellishments in the inside, although I'll be writing in here. Still, let me see if this is going to fit. Not quite. So to me, this is also like a Thanksgiving day, so to speak. It's a great time to be thankful and to just, I don't know, to just express gratitude. So I kind of wanted to make this about that. So I'm just going to put some stickers in here that reflect that. So if I can get this on here without it being too messy. Let's try this now. Yeah. Put the G down. I got a little away from me there for a moment. But yeah, I'm going to just spell out gratitude. And it's just, a note card for me to put in to really discuss what I'm, think harvest. What did go well? What has been awesome? What did you manifest? I have some really awesome things that I've done, and I am so grateful for. I have gone through a really big shift in my life. I think, when you go through shifts, think about a lot of them are part of just adulthood. For some of us, like it's a shift into, let's say, the teenage years into adulthood, the shift into, motherhood, and eventually, and has its own phases, and the shift into the decision to not, go into motherhood, because that's a thing too. Being okay with your decision, whether it was on purpose or that's just the card you were dealt in life, which it happens, right? So I'm going to spell out gratitude. Better pay attention for I have to redo it. So let me just get these down. But this is that time. That's what I love about paganism. It's an opportunity. Now I'm going to attempt to put this on a fold, and we'll see where this goes. Okay. Yeah. For me, one of the beautiful things about paganism is that you get these holidays to celebrate and to really take account of your life, take stock of how you feel, your emotions, your desires. That's what I love about paganism. Where unfortunately, I think in other places, there's so much, other spiritual systems. A lot of times, it seems like there's always like, you're dealing with like the aftermath of life, or you're kicking the can down the road until you die type stuff. And then everything kind of gets solved in death. And, I can't operate that way. If I can get this E up. You ever look at a word and you know you spelled it right, but it looks wrong? Yeah, that. Anyway, but this is an opportunity for me to sort of spell out that, and I'll write that note, and that'll be a private note, and that'll be something I write on the day. This will be something I've ritualized, so, so no, I won't be sharing that right now, but there's a couple things in here that I do want, which is living the dream. Ooh, make sure I get this down here. And then there's another one. Let me show you what I'm looking at. Make your own magic. So I will put that here. Got a little crooked, but that's okay. All right, so this will also go in here. And it's just, like I said, just a little note card to put in. And, if I need to write any other details, I will here, but this is kind of all I needed. And I'll put that here, and, I'll date it and so forth. But that's pretty much it for me. This is just the updating. So when I don't usually show when I'm referencing other books and things like that. And I thought that might be fun for you to kind of see how I go about doing things. Because I used to have wild ideas when I first started a magical journal or grimoire, book of shadows. I used to really think that like I had to become some sort of author, and I had to create everything from scratch and not copy, because that was somehow cheating. I don't know where I got that from, but I did. But that's not necessarily the case. You can definitely look in other places, and there might be words and things like that that stand out to you. And, you find that very interesting. For instance, totally off topic, but seafood correspondences, like I made notes about this and I had to go search for this information. Like I didn't know all of this off the top of my head. I understood about fish in general. I think water, fertility, that made sense to me. But lobster, no, I didn't know how to find a correspondence for lobster. I mean, I knew how to find it. I didn't understand what it was. So that sort of stuff. And this is like some of the detail I like having. No, you don't typically find information like this in a lot of the books. They'll tell you color correspondences, herbs, general herbs, but like some of the, stuff like this. This is why I have this included. Now, keep in mind, I knew I wanted information about this before I wrote this down. So I set everything up, if you didn't know, with all the pictures and all that. Like, for instance, I will write about this, but for now, that's okay. And even about ferns, I talk about that here, and just magical properties of ferns, because I have one and it's giving me a hard time. And I think there's something more to it. Even aloe. Aloe is great. And this is just a loose card, right, that I have in here, a piece of parchment paper. And, I like doing stuff like that. But the point is, I set my Book of Shadows up this way for this purpose. So anyway, I can now have something to come back to on August 1st, and I can sort of write my notes here about gratitude. And I would date it, of course, for 2022. And as time goes on, I can, have other dates and things like on here. But at least I have my ideas, my activities that I know I can do. Yeah, so this is just like pretty much it. And I really like this. I like how homey it is, and I cut out the pages, and it's starting to get more filled up and like with little things, and it's sort of organized, but not really. And I love that. I love, when the moment strikes me, I write in here. And so far, this has just been a pleasurable experience doing it this way and having these details ready to go when I need them. Like I'm like living my dream. When I first started, and I'll just say this since we're kind of on this topic of, gratitude and thankfulness and all that sort of stuff, I really wanted this life. Like I wanted to be able to express my witchiness in all different types of forms and feel confident about it. And it took time, but I'm living that now. I'm living my truth. I'm living the way I wanted to live. And I dream more, there's even more for myself that I want to see. Cause, I'm not going to stay the same. I'll change. I'll be going into the crone phase, and that comes with a different outlook and also maybe a different look. And I'm open to that and gaining more wisdom and more knowledge. Somebody called me an auntie in the comments, and I was like, I'm an auntie? You would think, right? Oh, I should probably be used to that. But honestly, I'm not, because no one really calls me, no one calls me aunt. No one, no little kids, no one. I just have them call me by my name. I'm not on titles and things like that. It makes me a little bit uncomfortable, to be honest. So that's why I don't. And anyway, so being able to fully express myself has been great. Setting this up was a labor of love. It wasn't a huge investment. Most of this was just like $2, $3, buying like this scrap paper that I got from off of Etsy. I cut this out of a book, so like I did all this bit by bit. And I love how this all came out. I mean, printer ink, but I have a membership where they Insta Ink. They just send it to you. If you get a wireless printer or printer nowadays, you probably have to sign up for that, and you pay something a month, and they just keep track of how much ink you need, so you never run out. So I do that. And other things were like from magazine clippings and things like that I got, and sticker books I already had, scrap paper and things like that project craft papers I already kept. I wanted different texture, so this is like photo paper. Same for this one as well. And this is for like a magazine, like a Better Homes and Garden spring edition. They had some imagery that I thought was just perfect. And I already own a Cricut machine, so I was able to cut this out. So yeah, that sort of stuff. So by the way, this is coming up soon. I have this in here, so I'll show you how I make it and how I bless it. So look for this video. It's coming up very soon. But yeah, I'm like so grateful for that. When you're on the other side once you're past the 101 or the beginning phase, and the stops and the starts and stops and starts for the 50 millionth time, believe me, I know. Once you get past that point, and it's kind of just like your groove, like this is where you are. You're just a witchy chick or a witchy guy. You're just living your life. In what you consider your truth. And whatever that looks like, it feels good. It feels so good. I don't battle with certain questions. I don't have doubts. There's really no place for fear. I use basically my gut, my instincts, my intuitiveness. I'm in touch with that. So if it doesn't feel right, it's not about me being afraid. It's because it is not right. Sometimes you get messages and things like that just tells you flat out, don't go down this road. This is not for you. Respect it and don't. Or, you can mess around and find out and see what happens. That's on you. Your spirit guides, your ancestors, and whatever you're working with, but like, I did warn you. No one, and I love that about paganism, and I'm grateful for that. For the most part, this concept that people have that some entity is going to come and interrupt you from making this mistake because they know better, or they're going to punish you for it. That has not been my experience working with ancestors. Getting messages, and if I did not heed the message or I took too long to do something about it, I wasn't punished. There was natural consequences that occurred. And I think sometimes people get that twisted. They're your guides in this transition of your spiritual life, this phase that you're in. They're not there to punish you. That's not even part of, I believe, the authority of ancestors to want to punish you, as if a child-parent situation, until you learn your lesson. That's not my experience working with ancestors, working with any spiritual spirits. That hasn't been my experience, and I'm very grateful for that. I'm also a practical witch, so I kind of approach things that way. I love my woo woo, but at the same time, I'm a very practical minded person. Um, and like I said, I go by my intuition. I let it guide me and influence my spirituality. And I believe it's gotten me a long way. So, I'm grateful for all of that. So I'm gonna end it here because I'm just kind of rambling, but this is just like awesome information if you didn't know. And yeah, so this is it. So this is the final thing, and I can't wait until August 1st to write my notes. And, I have sort of a little bit about what it's about in this section and then the things to do. And I left this blank. If there's something I need to, maybe I'll pop a picture on here of like my altar. That's what I was thinking, to leave it kind of blank. And I'll just put it over top of this. Or maybe I'll just put it in here. I don't know. But we'll see. Well, thank you again for watching. I am Mika. This is Leap Taken. Please, please, please go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe if you have not already, and share. If you'd like, go ahead and hit that join button to see about the Leap Taken memberships. If you're interested in any of the services that I offer, head on over to leaptaken.com. All right, I'm out of here. Thanks again. Bye.